Hello there, everybody. So, I was making my way through today's trending tags when I saw the tag here, hashtag shots fired. I think it's a TV show, something along those lines. I didn't get too deep into it until I had seen a tweet, a sarcastic Beyonce-looking face gif of this individual named Michael Sanders. Says, "Oh, I'm sorry. When was the last time you were pulled over by the police and didn't know if you were gonna make it out alive?" Shots fired. So I don't know the full reference to it. By looking at it, when I follow the shots fired hashtag, we're looking at a very likely racially mm, race-based sort of occasion, sort of happening, if you will. And I'll cut that audio because it's my tanks in the background. I'm kind of playing this as I mentioned the whole moving meditation reference, and some of my Star Wars gaming fans will get that. But anyway, I had to respond with a tweet of my own because this is something. This whole, well, when was the last time a white guy thought he was gonna get shot up by the police or get beaten or detained, yada 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 yada. I hear that a lot, and I might have brought this up in previous videos. I'm not sure if I have or not. But on the topic of when was the last time that you didn't know if you'd be making it out of an interaction with the cops alive, I would have to say spring of my, what was it? I would have been taking physics because I had a catapult contest. It was at the very least earliest 2009, or it was spring 2010. I never put the two together. A friend of mine in Montana saw the culmination of the issue. The rest of my friends fuckered off, but that all bodes some explaining, and I'm kind of starting from the end there. In a late spring, it wasn't quite summer. School was still in session. I was going back to meet my friends who had stayed at school that afternoon. I had a physics course, which was a review, and a spare. Spare being like a study hall period. I don't know if they might define that a different way in other districts, other countries, whatever. Point being, it was a no class chunk of my day, and the physics was a review, so I didn't think it warranted staying for it. So I went home, had a nap, texted my friends. They were getting out of school. I said, "Hey, why don't you come, meet up with us and head out and chill at one buddy's place, Wesley's." And I said, "Sure, sounds good." So you get up, pop on the rollerblades. Yes, I rollerbladed to school. Some people have all mocked me for that. But yeah, I didn't have a bike at the time. Somebody had actually stolen the fucking caps off my tires, and then later on slashed one because I lived in a great spot. But anyway, rollerblade my ass up there, and I have this thing. It's a really juvenile little habit that I think I've had since I was like playing 4 years old, playing soccer and watching helicopters and planes and shit go over, fly over. If I see a helicopter, if it's right over, I tend to look up and I'll wave at it just for a giggle. Yes, call me lame, I don't know, whatever. But I think, what, if the person up there is waving back at me, that'd be kind of funny, be an interesting moment. Who knows? Whatever. But I see this helicopter kind of milling around the area, and it's flying over top of me. I'm going up Stevenson, and I wave, and I think nothing of it. I keep watching this helicopter keep circling around the same area. I'm going, oh, that's weird. Normally they only do that when there's like a news story going on. I'm wondering, like, is there something going on at one of the schools around here? Like, is there something I don't know about? And interestingly enough, there was something of a story happening at the time, and that was that somebody had committed robbery very near to where it was that I lived, and had fled the scene apparently on rollerblades. Why were they on rollerblades? Be fucked if I know. No clue. Maybe because they thought they'd get away quicker. I don't know. But I heard later on that it was some sort of armed robbery that had taken place. This is Oshawa, 2009, 2010. And I've met up with my friends. We're by this church that's up on Stevenson and Fernhill, up near the school. And we're coming back south well, going towards Fernhill. And as I get to Fernhill, this black SUV pulls up back behind us. My friend Brittany turns to me and says, "Josh, do you know those guys?" And I turned to her and said, "What?" And she goes, "Well, those guys at the truck back there are, calling for you." And I turn around and all I see is this black SUV. The window's down like a third, so all I can see is this guy's like top of his face. He's wearing sunglasses, bald head. And, you can see his hand kind of pop up beside it. Goes, "Would you come over to the vehicle, please?" I go like, he's like, "Could you come over here?" And I'm like, no thanks. No clue who these people are. Vehicle's not marked. I'm like, I'm not fucking around, all right? Stranger danger kind of bullshit. I'm like, it's weird as fuck that they're approaching me. My friends are here, but whatever. And, sorry, I'm sitting here shooting at back at a fucking Covenanter. So, I'm like, okay, whatever. And I'm like, look at the vehicle. It's a Chevy. I go, okay, I had family who worked at the GM plant in town and thought maybe someone's pulling one on me, whatever. I go, yeah, do I know you? And the officer, much to his credit, goes, "Yeah, we're the cops." I'm like, okay, that might be a half decent reason to come over to a vehicle. And so I start rolling up to this truck, it's SUV, and I'm a little concerned. I'm like, whatever. And the window starts rolling down. Gray uniform, patch on the shoulder. Look to me like the tactical team. And these guys don't get called out just, for nothing. It's not common. We saw them back in my my hometown. And so I'm like, okay, something's pretty serious here. And just as I roll up to the edge of the window, and standing there, I'm maybe, I don't know, a couple feet away from it, a marked cruiser pulls up, just, flies up on my ass. So it's another 1.5 feet off my back end. I'm standing there between these two vehicles. And a police SUV, marked SUV, pulls up to either side of the end of this, completely boxing me in the middle. Needless to say, when the window was rolled down fully, and I was told to put my hands on the edge of the windowsill, not move, and tell them who I was, where I had been, what I had been doing, and who could vouch for that, I offered up my explanation pretty fucking quick. In that, I'm really sorry, I went home during a spare and a review period, my name is so-and-so and such, and I'm really sorry, but nobody can confirm that I was at home but myself. I didn't think you guys took truancy this seriously. And I don't know if it was the really terrible joke or if this guy just happened to have a really solid disposition. But, they didn't freak out on me, didn't lose their shit. And I said, yeah, so nobody can confirm that. And I'm like, no, nobody can confirm that. And everyone's really, like you can feel that everybody's a little on edge. I look back, there's a bunch of like no-neck linebacker looking guys in the next row of seats. And I'm going, okay, like something's definitely not right here. And so they're sitting there and I hear, talking back and forth. And all of a sudden the radio in the car crackles and somebody says something. And guy in the cruiser turns, goes, it's not him. I go, I could have told you it wasn't me. I go, I don't know what it was, but it sure as hell wasn't me. And they're like, okay, well, you know what? We're really sorry. You fit the description of somebody who, fled the scene on rollerblades. I'm like, oh, okay. But I'm like, but the surrounding me seemed like a bit much. And then a friend of mine, Montana, she's walking by. And as it's kind of wrapping up, she goes, Josh, everything okay? And I go, yeah, I think so. I think everything's going to be all right now. And she goes, all right. She goes, you want me to wait for you? I go, that'd be nice. She waited a minute or two. They got their stuff together and they start, driving off. And she goes, well, what was that? My friends, my friends, in the meantime, have completely buggered off. Like after Brittany goes, hey, those guys are looking for you. I turn around and talk to them. Yeah, they just kept walking. No concern for what was going on. They are gone. And yeah. So here's the bit. Did I think that there was a chance that something was going to happen to me because of a case of mistaken identity based on the description given of a suspect? Yes. Absolutely, I knew there was a possibility of that happening. The next question is, well, why didn't it happen? Some people will go, well, it's because you're white. And I would say to them, frankly, that's bullshit. I would chalk this up. My success at not getting, my daily dose of lead. I would chalk that up to the fact that the second the individuals identified themselves as police officers, I stopped what I was doing. I didn't disregard their request. I complied with a reasonable request to move over to the vehicle and answer a couple of questions, and didn't get belligerent. Step 1. Step 2. When I did move up to the cop car, I did so in a way that was not threatening to the officers inside. I didn't rush up to the vehicle. I didn't stick my hands in my pockets and fumble around for shit. I didn't do anything that I wasn't immediately asked to do. Third, when I did get to the vehicle and I was asked the questions of who I was, where I had been, and who could vouch for this information, I gave them a straight answer, and on the end is a little bit of the humor, which I maybe shouldn't have done, did the whole truancy joke. I didn't get belligerent with them. I didn't tell them, hey, you ain't got no right, go fuck yourself. Alright. I didn't yell, fuck the police, and just start running, and I, again, didn't stick my hands in my pockets or anywhere that the police could not see them. If you look at the vast majority of cases where shootings occur with a black individual being shot by the police, you will see that one of those things was not done. Usually, multiple things were not done to lead the situation in such a way that it would not escalate to the use of physical force. Whether they stick their hands in their pockets, whether they're fumbling around with their waistband, whether they turn and try and run from the cops, whether they get an attitude, whether they cop a tube with a person when they try to answer some questions. Alright? It didn't harm me to mention who I was, where I had been, and who could vouch for it. It didn't harm me to take a minute or two out of my day to stop there and answer the questions they had for me. Alright? And even at the concern of my mother was like, oh, you shouldn't have done that. You could have been, arrested on a case of mistaken identity. I go, yeah, I would have been arrested on suspicion of armed robbery. I would not have been shot, leading to you having to go to my funeral. Why? Because he's white. No. Any dipshits who want to try and pull that line, go fuck yourself. You know it's not true. And if you do think it's true, you might be beyond help. Any white person who decided to do shit like fumbling around their waistband, running from the cops, giving an aggressive attitude, all that kind of shit, would have wound up having force used against them. Why? Because that is a reasonable response for the police in that kind of a situation. Don't like it? Tough shit. If a stupid high school kid, and God, I was a fucking stupid high school kid, thought I knew everything, full of myself as hell, alright, if that cocky little dick of a high school kid can, I don't know, mind his fucking manners for 5 minutes and not take an issue with the cops asking to speak to him, figuring, hey, maybe if they've asked me to come to the vehicle, maybe they've got a proper fucking reason. Just maybe. Maybe they've got a reason to ask for that. And just going along with it, humor in their request for a bit. Worse comes to worse, and you are wrongfully detained. There have been lawsuits settled for thousands of dollars per hour that a person has been wrongfully detained. Alright? Is it tough to prosecute? Sure. Sure it is. But you start getting injury, and you haven't done anything wrong, all right, and you don't cop a fucking toot with people, they're going to be a lot less likely to lay a fucking whooping on your ass. Plain as that. So anyway, as far as the shots fired thing goes, when was the last time that I didn't know if I'd be coming out of an interaction, in one piece or not? Technically, I guess it's never happened. Because I've got sense enough, all right, a brain enough in my head to know what I can and can't do, should and shouldn't do in that kind of a situation. Maybe you ought to take a lesson from it.